This is Melissa Trotter, a 19-year-old college student who went to North Harris Montgomery Community College. Today, it's known as the Lone Star College, Montgomery campus in Conroe, Texas. Melissa, an outgoing, smart, and kind young lady, she was the kind of person that would lift up your spirit in hard times. She really loved her family and friends. Melissa was a big fan of the holidays and was excited about the upcoming Christmas in 1998. Sadly, she wouldn't see the Christmas of 1998. Sometime in late November, I believe Melissa walks across campus with a friend, talking and laughing, and then they come cross paths with a man doing some electrical work on campus. The man spoke briefly to them about something, and then they both went on with their day. Well, a few days go by, and they cross paths again. And the man strikes up another conversation to Melissa. I'm not 100% sure what they chatted about. Possibly introduced himself to her as Larry Swearingen and asked her what her name is and what is she studying for. And it is possible that Larry maybe asked Melissa if she was available in the future for any plans to hang out and get to know one another a bit more. On December 6, 1998, Melissa was at this gas station here in Willis, Texas. And when she came out of the gas station store, Larry happens to be there at the same time Melissa is. As Melissa is walking over to her car, Larry drives over to her and apparently they end up talking for 2 hours at the same gas station on December 6, 1998.
Degraded surveillance video shows Swearingen and Melissa talking for 2 hours at the North Shore Marina, his red truck parked next to her blue car 2 days before her disappearance. They made a lunch date.
On May 8th, 1998, Melissa Trotter, I believe, gets a call from her mother earlier that day about her brother coming home from the army and that the parents wanted to see their kids and to go out to eat that evening as a family. From what I read online is that Melissa agrees to meet them at the restaurant of their choice. Sometime around 1 p.m. on that same day, December 8th, 1998, Larry Swearingen ends up at the college Melissa is at. Larry finds Melissa and asks her if she wants to have lunch together. My guess is that Melissa said yes. While they're both leaving the college campus, a few students saw them leave in a big bright red pickup truck sometime around 1:30 p.m. or so. Well, that evening, Melissa's family is waiting on her, and Melissa never showed up, and this wasn't like her. Melissa's mom called her phone and left a message wondering, where is she at? The mom then goes and calls some of her friends to check up on her and see where is she at. As requested, one of Melissa's friends goes to check up on her, and she is not in her room. Melissa's car is still there, her phone and purse are all still there. Melissa's friends knew something wasn't right about this. The next day, December 9th, 1998, the mother files a missing persons report on her daughter and explains the situation to the police. I believe Detective Scott is the first detective to arrive at Melissa's room on campus. He's going through the room looking for clues until he comes across a piece of paper that says Larry, and it has a phone number written on it. Scott Davis, the detective, also talks to Melissa's friends, trying to get any other information that might be needed. Word got out about a young lady who disappeared, and some of the locals in Willis, Texas said they remember seeing a woman that matches the description on the missing persons flyer, and that she was last seen at the marina in Willis. Two days prior to Melissa's disappearance, she was last seen by somebody on campus, talking to a man at North Harris Montgomery Community College. It's now December 11th, 1998. Detective Scott goes out to the marina and asked to see surveillance video footage and saw the truck that was described by a few witnesses.
Degraded surveillance video shows Swearingen and Melissa talking for 2 hours at the North Shore Marina, his red truck parked next to her blue car 2 days before her disappearance. They made a lunch date.
Well, as Detective Scott leaves the marina, he happens to pass by a gas station and sees a red dually pickup truck. The man in the red dually pickup truck goes inside the gas station to pick up a few things and then leaves. Detective Scott starts following the red dually pickup truck. Well, several minutes go by and the person inside the red truck is wondering, why is this car following him? So the man in the truck is taking different left and right turns, and this car is still following him. Eventually, the guy in the red pickup truck stops right in front of his mom's house and gets out. The guy in the red pickup truck wants to know what is going on. Why are you following me? Detective Scott states that he wanted a few minutes with the man in the red pickup truck. And Detective Scott says, I saw you at the gas station and I wanted to talk to you, but you led me on this chase. Well, Detective Scott gets the guy's information and runs a background check on him. Come to find out, this man has several warrants out for his arrest. So I'm sure you're wondering, what were the warrants this guy had out for his arrest? Well, the first one is failure to appear in court. He had previously been cited for traffic and minor offenses and did not show up to any of his court dates. The second one, unpaid traffic tickets. I don't know how many, but apparently he had some that were unpaid. And for the final one, theft by check, and it looks like this guy wrote a bad check, and I don't know exactly how many. Besides the three that I just listed, that's the only warrants that I see that this guy had out for his arrest. So, who is this guy that is driving the red dually pickup truck? Larry Ray Swearingen. Well, Larry is arrested and sent to jail because of his warrants. And it is believed that Detective Scott thinks he may have found the right person who may be involved in Melissa's missing case. While Larry is being arrested, he yells out this to his mom. Mom, do you want to buy my jet ski? I'm not 100% sure what this really means, but after doing some research, I believe it's a code warning, telling his mom to hide anything related to his crimes he may have committed. Well, Larry's truck gets impounded, and the police start searching for any kind of evidence. And they end up finding a few things that possibly belongs to Melissa. Larry Swearingen is being questioned by detectives, and we're already looking at Larry as a person of interest in Melissa Trotter's disappearance, as he was the last person to be seen with her alive. Larry had no idea who she was until Detective Scott brings up a note that had the name Larry and a phone number written on the piece of paper that was found at the college in Melissa's room. Larry then admits he knew Melissa and talked to her 2 days before her disappearance at the marina in Willis, Texas, but also claiming that he didn't see her on December 8, 1998. Well, on December 8, 1998, Larry was spotted at the college campus Melissa went to by a few students that went there. And then Larry claims that he was there to pick up a paycheck from a friend or to get something fixed on his vehicle. Well, while Larry was there, he stopped by to talk to Melissa to see if she wanted to grab some lunch with him. And that's when both of them left the campus. That part happened around 1:30 p.m. on December 8, 1998, based on what a few students saw that day. The police got a search warrant to check his trailer to see if they could find anything related to Melissa's disappearance. Now, I don't know if it's someone on the police force or if it was Larry's landlord, but somebody ends up finding a pair of cut pantyhose. Remember the cut up pantyhose? I'll get back to that later on during the story. One thing I like to mention about Larry, he was a married man at the time, and he would hang around younger women to try and get their numbers to be friends with benefits. I'm not sure if Larry's wife knew anything about this, but some of the women came forward saying Larry did this or that to me. Very bad stuff. By this time, Larry has been in jail or prison for a couple of weeks. The search and rescue teams and volunteers are still looking, and no signs of Melissa anywhere. On January 2nd, 1999, there are two hunters who were hunting in the Sam Houston National Forest days before Melissa had gone missing. One of the hunters had misplaced 2 of their guns and is searching the area for them. And that's when one of them comes across what he thought was a mannequin. And he goes over to touch it, and it's real flesh. A 911 call is made by one of the hunters, and the police come out to investigate the scene. When the body was found on January 2nd, 1999, investigators didn't immediately know that it was Melissa Trotter. The remains were partly decomposed after nearly a month outdoors. But within hours, several key clues confirmed her identity, one of them being through dental records. It was Melissa Trotter, the 19-year-old teen who had gone missing weeks prior to her discovery. Melissa was strangled, I think, by her own pair of pantyhose that she wore. And the pantyhose were cut in half and tied around the victim's neck. One of her shoes was placed by her body, and one half of the pantyhose was missing on her leg, which was around Melissa's neck. Remember when I said I would get back to this part earlier in the video about the pantyhose? The other half of the pantyhose were found in the trash at Larry's house, and I believe was found by his landlord or someone on the police force just days after Larry's arrest. The prosecution argued Swearingen lured Melissa from Montgomery College on December 8, 1998, strangled her with the pantyhose either in his truck or in his trailer, and then dumped her body in the Sam Houston National Forest that same day. The defense maintained he was already in jail when she died, citing decomposition evidence that suggested she hadn't been dead since December 8. Meaning, when Melissa's body was found, she still looked fresh and very little decomposition. It looked like she had been dead for no more than 14 days. And that it couldn't have been Larry who killed her, as he has already been in jail for a few weeks at this point. But the prosecutor argues that it has been between 20 or 25 days. Larry writes a hoax letter in Spanish to his own attorney, pretending to be the real killer. In it, he describes details from the crime scene photos only that the killer could know. Well, there's also another part to the story that the letter was being written by another inmate to help Larry get out of jail or prison because he is a free, innocent man, and he didn't do it. Whichever side of the story is true, it made things worse for Larry. The Spanish note was introduced as evidence during one of his trials that he had in the year 2000. And while during another trial, evidence showed that Melissa's hair and fibers from her clothes were found in his truck, and the other half of the ripped pantyhose were found in the trash at Larry's residence. I want to throw this in here really quickly before we get back into the trial. Melissa's autopsy came up with even more puzzling evidence. There is blood found under her fingernails. DNA testing was done on Larry and it came back negative. Was it Melissa's blood? I'm not 100% sure, as it was never mentioned. Well, that's not all that was found on Melissa's body. A single male pubic hair found on her body. More DNA testing was done and it wasn't Larry's either. Apparently, the hair was later lost, but the DNA testing still exists, from what I read online. As of today, the owner of the blood and the hair that was found on Melissa's body still remains a mystery. Makes you wonder who else is involved in this case. Maybe Larry's wife, mother, or a friend of Larry? Speaking of his wife, they were having serious marital problems. Larry's wife, Miss Swearingen, does appear several times throughout the investigation and trial timeline. Throughout, her role is more peripheral than central. Well, later on, Larry's wife completely disappears from the public's eye. And the final thing I need to mention before I get back into Larry's trial is this. There is a strange case of Melissa's school papers appearing near Larry's parents' house after Larry's arrest. All of a sudden, these things start popping up while Larry is locked up. Let's get back to the trial. Well, over the next 19 years, Swearingen's case became one of the most consistent death penalty cases in Texas, centering on forensic science and decomposition timelines. There were even more appeals, more forensic DNA testing still going on, and even more execution dates were set. But after all 5 of Larry's scheduled executions were postponed, he would finally meet his maker. On August 21st, 2019, Swearingen, 48 years old, was executed by lethal injection at the Huntsville Unit, Texas.
Turn left onto Brandon Lane, then you will arrive at your destination.
Turn left on Brandon Lane, which is right here. Okay. Yep, this is it. Now he is at the very end, at the left-hand side. Let you take a look to show you what it looks like around me, or the houses at least. And his house, I believe it was right here that you're looking at, that trailer right in front of you. That's where Larry, the killer, lived, based on the news footage that I saw. And apparently that's where he brought her back to his house, or his trailer. And that's where they found part of the pantyhose.
If you really want to know, if you go into Houston, like I said, look up the one by Jennifer Ertman in the Pennsylvania, and that's an interesting one. They have a memorial over there for the for T.C. Jester, and what was it? T.C. Jester, and I'm trying to remember the cross street. where that murder happened.
Yes, ma'am.
And that had to be around the mid-90s, I think, or late 90s when that murder happened. So now, I don't know if this is true or not, because I actually worked with some of the officers who investigated that.
Oh, yes,
they were on scene. I've actually had some tell me at night.
It's always at night that this stuff happens.
You can hear their screams.
Really?
I don't know if this is true or not.
Shoot.
I don't know if this is only little things that they told me. So, but they said that, yeah, you can hear this. I'm like, oh my God. So
that is crazy.
But yeah, look, Jennifer Ertman and Elizabeth Pena, they were murdered. There was a gang initiation and they were murdered by these gang members.
Oh shoot.
And it's a really interesting story.
I need to look into it.
Look into it. Look at that one. And if you want to investigate something or go out there and look at the memorial they have out there, that would be something. Really
oh, please, yeah. I'm glad we met because that helps. All right. Yeah. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you.
Well, I got to go help out my coworker. She's
okay. All right.
All right. You're welcome.
Thank you so much again. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
So this right here is one of the memorials that the college has dedicated to Melissa Trotter, if I'm saying the last name correctly. This is the school that she went to. I think it was her second year in college, if I remember correctly. But I'm glad the school has something where they can dedicate one of their students that went to school here to show that they care. Look for me in the rainbow. There's a rainbow above her head with a butterfly. It's a beautiful memorial. There's something I want to say. This is the fourth, maybe fifth time coming out here to the Sam Houston National Forest, trying to locate Melissa's Trotter's, hope I'm saying it correctly, marker that was placed by friends and family. And I really don't know if I found the actual location. I thought I found it at first because it really matched up with the photos. But this spot in particular, let me turn the camera around, also looks like it matches up with the photos as well. But let me turn to the left. That is the entryway into Sam Houston, also the way out of here. And to the right, back up a little bit, I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see it, versus this picture versus 1999 when it was taken. Let me use my finger. To the right is Lake Conroe. Again, to the left is the entryway to Sam Houston National Forest. And for the second time, I don't know if this is the actual location, but it looks pretty close. Oh, okay. Well, it looks like this place is turning into a dumping grounds. That's just sad. This is horrible. Why people have to do such things is just unbelievable. On my comprehension. I don't understand. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, I'm just looking around. Oh, wait a minute. I see a cross here, right here. Is this it? Maybe I actually found it finally. I hope I don't step on anything. What is this? This doesn't look like it's his cross. This might be somebody else's. Austin? Okay, I don't think this is who I'm looking for, but there's a memorial. Oh yeah, this is definitely not the right person. I thought I found it. I was like, oh, okay, I found it. But it looks like that's somebody else's. The marker was placed back in 1999, January, sometime in early January or sometime in January. That was what, 27 years ago? 26, 27, something like that. And I believe the marker was made out of wood. So the chances of it being preserved like this type of marker might be very slim. unless if somebody replaced it over the years. I don't know if I mentioned it, but it was placed by the friends and family. And this location kind of looks like what matches with the photos, but I'm not 100% sure really. Let me do a little bit of exploring and see if I can find something, and I'll get back with you. Wherever the location is, I know somebody does know exactly where it is. Sometimes you can find them online, sometimes you have to ask, and it's usually the best way to do it. And I've asked, and like I said, I've had quite a few people reach out to me of a post that I made asking, does anybody know the location of where this particular cross is at? And again, I was just given different locations. So after doing some searching, I finally come across the grave that I had been looking for. If you want to come out here and pay your respects for Melissa, she is very close to the front. I don't know if you can see behind me, that's the funeral home. Entryway is pretty much this direction, and if I turn the camera around, you'll be able to see this marker in the back. Right down here is Melissa's. Please be respectful if you come visit her grave. May Melissa rest in peace.